I'm Emily Cranfill, a Procurement Content Manager at NASPO. Today we're going to talk about the steps of the procurement process. There are 8 stages to the procurement process: definition of need, procurement method selection, solicitation development, evaluation of responses, negotiations, contract formation and award, contract administration, and retirement. Let's examine what happens in each of these steps. Definition of need. First, we must identify that there is a need for a commodity or service for the entity. At this early stage, the procurement officer should be working with the intended user of the commodity or service to identify the goal of the acquisition. This includes defining what is needed, in what quantity, within what timelines, on what budget, and other factors. Market research is also conducted to explore industry factors and to better understand the commodity or service. As an example, let's say your entity has determined that it would benefit from a contract for office supplies. You should answer the following questions, among others. What types of pens, paper, staplers, and other supplies are needed, and how many of each item? How quickly do the supplies need to be delivered, and to how many locations? What companies currently sell the pens and other items that you need? Procurement method selection. There are several options available to entities for purchasing goods and services, including invitation for bid, IFB, sometimes just called a bid, and request for proposals, RFP. Selecting the most appropriate procurement method when given a variety of factors, policies, requirements, and specifications is crucial to ensure a best value acquisition for your entity. For your office supplies contract, you might decide that an RFP is the best procurement method. You can include a list of the specific items you want to purchase, but you can also ask for non-list office supplies to be included at a discounted price, and for your contracted supplier to provide additional services, such as installation or inspection. You know your RFP will give you flexibility to ask for all of these elements. Solicitation development. This step in the process involves the creation of the official solicitation document utilized by the entity, including specifications, the appropriate terms and conditions, evaluation criteria, and other notifications to suppliers for both formal and informal competitive solicitations. The solicitation is then posted publicly to allow for response by interested suppliers. Your entity has standard terms and conditions that must be included in every RFP, and you add the specifications for office supplies to the standard language. You make sure to include definitions, expectations, and an explanation of how respondents will be evaluated to determine who will become the contracted supplier. Evaluation of responses. After bids or responses to a solicitation are received, the procurement evaluation team reviews and scores to determine the supplier's responsiveness with the requirements in the solicitation document. They then determine which supplier will be awarded the contract based on predetermined evaluation criteria set forth in the solicitation, which will differ depending on which type of solicitation was chosen. You might have 4 responses to your office supplies RFP, for example. One company responded incompletely and must be disqualified. You are able to evaluate the other 3 responses based on the criteria outlined in the RFP, which considers not only cost, but also quality, use of subcontractors, and sustainability, to name a few examples. Negotiations. Before a contract is finalized, there is often the ability to negotiate with the highest scoring supplier or suppliers to ensure the best value purchase for the entity. This typically involves planning, reviewing, and analyzing parts of a potential contract by both sides to reach an acceptable agreement or compromise. In addition to price, other elements including timelines and contract terms might be on the table for negotiation. For your office supplies RFP, you might have 2 companies with similar scores at the end of evaluation. Depending on your entity's rules and regulations, you might ask both companies for their best and final offer, or BAFO, or ask them both to negotiate contract terms to help you determine which company should be awarded a contract. Contract formation and award. Once the evaluation and negotiation steps are complete, a contract is finalized and awarded, which means accepting a bid or proposal through a formal agreement or contract between the entity and the bidder or proposer. You have determined the company who will be providing your entity's office supplies, so you post an award letter and finalize a contract, which the company will sign, and then your entity will sign and approve. Contract administration. When a contract is administered, the contract will be monitored for its progress and performance to ensure goods and services conform to the contract requirements. For the next 4 years, you meet regularly with representatives from the company providing your entity's office supplies. You keep track of their performance, make adjustments to the contract when needed, and ensure that all locations are receiving the office supplies they need. Retirement. The retirement phase of the procurement process involves the reuse or disposal of publicly owned items. Management of surplus government property to ensure there is no misuse is crucial and provides transparency to the public. Congratulations! You've completed a successful procurement cycle for your entity's brand new office supplies category. Near the end of the existing contract term, you decide you want to maintain a contract for these items. You begin again to define your entity's needs, taking into account the disposal or reuse of existing supplies, as well as the transition from one contract to the next.